We're visiting a weapons manufacturer in Ukraine. In reality, it's a school. In fact, a classroom with a pair of 3D printers operated by students. They spend their days making rifle grips, grenade fuses, and casings for bombs that will be attached to drones, steered into Russian tanks and soldiers, weapons that mean life and death on the front lines. All of it from these machines. You come and you print and you can study at the same time. Then you come back and print again and so on. Ukraine is teaching us new lessons about war and technology, how consumer products are playing new roles on the battlefield, with devices that anyone can buy off the shelf and operate.
It's a bomb. Basically, it's a bomb. So it has shrapnel.
Asymmetric warfare is a timeless concept, but today's technology is amplifying the power of the little guy in entirely new ways.
From drones to 3D printers and open source software, all available for relatively little money and not especially complicated to build or operate, but capable of wreaking absolute havoc on the battlefield, destroying equipment worth billions, and taking lives. It's a shift that militaries around the world are following and emulating. It offers opportunity.
3D printing is the most flexible production approach.
And points to frightening possibilities.
There is no effective countermeasures to this. And
war off the shelf, coming up on Business Beyond. If you've watched the news in recent months, these pictures will look familiar. Operation Spider's Web, one of Ukraine's most audacious attacks against Russia in the past 3 years of war. Ukraine says it struck more than 40 aircraft in Russia's strategic fleet, nuclear bombers that experts say cost hundreds of millions of euros each, with drones that experts say likely cost hundreds of dollars each.
That price difference alone is staggering, but also this fact. The target aircraft were specially procured, highly sensitive projects that took years just to build and deliver. Experts say the drones that destroyed them were essentially cobbled together from commercial components.
Using hardware like this is a tiny computer, a Raspberry Pi. It'll run you about $10 to $50 depending on the version. Add to that an open source autopilot program and an LTE modem, which allowed the drones to communicate using Russia's own telecommunications network, and you have what experts say are key components of the attack.
Just to be clear, those small things helped knock out some of Russia's most advanced nuclear bombers.
the spiderweb operation doesn't have anything sophisticated in terms of technology. It is just super efficient, amazing planning of this operation and tactics of how to use this off-the-shelf cheap commercial technology.
Katerina Bondar follows the Ukrainian war from Washington, D.C.
We see it's basically a new way of using commercial technology and militarization of commercial technology, which I think on the one hand is thrilling and on the other hand is frightening.
Asymmetric warfare is as old as war itself. It's when smaller forces adapt unconventional methods of fighting against larger forces. Its modern version relies on cheap, low-tech alternatives that have, on the one hand, a high failure rate, but can cause considerable damage when things go right. Like roadside bombs triggered by cell phones in Afghanistan, or small speedboats capable of quickly overwhelming expensive warships in the tight waters of the Persian Gulf. In recent years, changes in consumer technology have opened up new possibilities. Commercial drones and 3D printers are affordable and easy to find. Open source programs readily available. Simple computer boards are inexpensive. Assembly instructions easily found online.
We're going to mount our flight controller on top of that.
The war in Ukraine and the drone attacks on both sides have made that kind of low-cost technology a priority, deploying it at significant scale.
Soldiers strapped explosives onto cheap first-person view, or FPV drones, until then mostly used by hobbyists, and flew them into targets.
In the 2023 and 2024, anything that could fly, it's okay. That's why it was mostly the toys, not like the weapons, but we use it like a weapons because we don't have any choice.
Alexander Yakovenko is the founder of TAF Drones. It builds 3 models of FPVs and claims it can produce more than 40,000 in 1 month. At first, production was a hodgepodge of commercial components.
Each of them are cheap and civilian, but when we combine them, they make like a synergy. And in this way, like 3 rather cheap components provide rather current position on the battlefield and navigation.
The low cost of drones, especially FPV drones, is exactly the point. A recent report by the Royal United Services Institute, a kind of security think tank, found that most FPV attacks launched by Ukraine weren't actually successful, and that artillery fire was far more effective. But shells are hard to come by, and drones aren't.
Ukraine says it's now producing 4 million drones annually, and that it has the capacity to build twice as many, provided the right funding. Production has meanwhile become more technical over time, according to manufacturers. They say they're able to produce more components themselves, and they're incorporating lessons learned from the battlefield. Ukraine is now said to be building up its deep strike drone capability, which allows it to fly further into Russia for strategic strikes.
Whether it's dozens of thousands of long-range strikes, whether it's dozens of thousands of recon drones or millions of FPV drones, all types of them are quite well needed in the current warfare.
Alexander Kamishin is an advisor to President Volodymyr Zelensky and the former Minister of Strategic Industries.
And that's the new war. This war started as the war with drones. Now it's going to become the first world drone war.
There's another first in this war. Andrei Klekov invites us to his home near Kyiv to see it for ourselves. Andrei owns 7 different 3D printers, and they operate around the clock.
Я сплю буквально в сусідній кімнаті, і, в принципі, воно мені не заважає повністю спати, навіть коли всі принтери працюють, у них повна завантаженість.
Andrei makes items for the military, from the comfort of his own home, from military boxes, to medical equipment, to casings for explosives.
От, тобто вона закріплюється так на дроні, вона може закріплюватись на дрон Камікадзе.
3D printing has been around for decades, but what was once a niche technology has slowly become a kind of hobby workbench. Now Ukraine is showing how to deploy that at scale.
Andrei is one of thousands of at-home printers volunteering their time for the Ukrainian military. The 3D print army manufactures according to the needs of the military. By its own estimates, it delivers 37 tons of material every month, from replacement parts to weapons, and receives contributions from across Europe and interest from around the world.
It's all over the Europe. It's in the US. They try to print something in Australia. I say that, guys, you know, money gonna travel faster and cheaper across all these oceans than your products.
Jake Folnov is founder and head of the 3D print army. He says military units have all sorts of small parts that they need to obtain quickly.
A lot of guys are not engineers, so they just came to us with their problem and say, well, you know, we have this Bulgarian mine, and it has that kind of screw, and we need that kind of tail.
3D printers are an increasingly affordable and decentralized way to print certain objects in small quantities. Andrei's cheapest model cost him $200, he said. His most expensive, the equivalent of $2,000. The plastic feed, about $7 a kilogram. Print instructions are available through the military or often online. Quantifying 3D printing's direct impact on the battlefield is difficult, but its deployment in Ukraine stands out. And for more than just plastic, the Ukrainian army is also printing metal parts. The US military has given it instructions for printing new firing pins for the M777 howitzer, a mainstay of the war.
3D printing is beginning to shift our understanding of military logistics, about how to obtain or repair critical parts in conflict areas, where normal supply chains might break down.
Other militaries are meanwhile taking note. The US Army has worked closely with Ukraine and it's been observing how printing works near the front lines. It's now expanding and streamlining its own production capabilities, by example, through creating a print database.
It's basically, in essence, like a global system that allows a soldier to go in and see what part can be advanced manufacturally made, and then at what level.
Tiffany Johnson works for the U.S. Army's Material Command. That list is now at hundreds of different items, Johnson says. The goal is to expand it even further, and with the use of a simple tablet, allow soldiers to be able to call up printing instructions.
This is the part that you can make. This is going to tell you at what level you can make it at, and then tell the other things, or where you have to go to get that part at.
In Ukraine, of course, printing is a step further, making weapons.
It's just weaponizing these drones because, for example, how kamikaze drones appeared. You just attach an explosive device to an FPV drone and you just hit the target, and it's one-way ticket basically. But those release systems, bomb release systems, they like 99% of them are 3D printed, and it completely changed the concept of drone application. So this actually enabled this transition from only kamikaze drones into bombers.
Like some of the FPV drones we talked about, 3D printed weapons aren't really sophisticated. But in a war where weapons are often hard to come by, they're playing their own role.
And that's all that many printers need to know. Like in our school just outside of Kyiv. Here, teenagers regularly produce weapons and gear for the front lines by the boxful.
Перш за все, це хвостовичок на бомбу, яка прикріпляється до дрона, і потім вона летить і падає до русні. Ось так, весело.
Nazar is 18 years old. He and his classmates operate 6 printers. An American charity provided the first 2 in 2023, the government and local businesses the other 4. At the time of our filming, the students had sent 50 shipments with more than 20,000 items, by their own estimates. Most of it to the Donetsk region in the east, where fighting is intense.
Під військових, де горить танк, умовно, то це дуже сильно мотивує далі працювати. Тобто ти бачиш реальний результат того, що ось ти можеш допомогти хоч якось військовим, бо це насправді єдині захисники наразі, які допомагають нам хоч якось втриматися і жити далі звичайне життя. Ось. Тому завдяки їм, і ми повинні допомагати їм.
Nazar's community was briefly occupied by Russia in 2022. Ukrainian officials say Russians tortured and killed soldiers and civilians. Such accounts drive Nazar and his classmates. They're helping other schools begin 3D printing, including in Lviv and in this school near Kyiv.
Ці пляшки нам приносять люди з громади, і використовуючи їх, переробляючи їх на нашому спеціальному станку, ми створюємо філамент для 3D-друку.
For Nazar, 3D printing offers more promise for Ukraine than just weapons manufacturing.
Це 100% відбудова якихось будівель, бо це без проблем можна буде друкувати на величезних 3D-принтерах, використовувати, будувати освітні заклади, друкувати будівлі, житлові комплекси і так далі.
Toy drones turned into kamikaze bombers. Weapons manufacturing, so simple that teenagers are doing it. Computer hardware and software that can steer battlefield operations.
Battlefield technology isn't just changing, to a certain extent, it's becoming more accessible.
That's good news for Ukraine, as it scrapes together everything possible just to defend itself. But it comes with harrowing implications. Where is the line between playthings and weapons of war? And what comes next, especially as devices become capable of higher levels of autonomy?
The answers to those questions are taking shape now, right in front of our eyes. And we'll keep following it here on Business Beyond. That's all for this episode. Thanks for watching.